getting older is for the birds. Where does that saying even come from, for the birds? For the birds. Whatever. Who knows? Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Today is episode 150. Is it 150? 150! Yay! I haven't decided on a topic yet. We'll just see what happens. Episode 150, that's 150 shows. That's a lot. It's a whole lot. Okay, welcome to my knitting channel. I did miss last episode. I was unable to record. We had to do radon mitigation for the new house, and to do that they have to drill and stuff into your house. And my husband had scheduled it. I did not schedule it because I wouldn't have scheduled it for the day that I record, but whatever. I'm not in charge of these things. I'm not sure why I'm not in charge, but I'm not. And it was a whole fiasco. Like, I ended up asking the guy to leave my house because he was like violent, and I got a kitten. Who dis? He was like cursing, and he was on the phone with somebody in his little earbuds. He was on the phone and he was like wildly complaining about the job. And like, I don't know if he was unhappy with the house, like our house, but I was like, he was slamming all the doors in his truck and everything. Like, he was mad about something, and whoever he was on the phone with was not helping things. So I asked my husband to call the company. Hey. And ask them to call their guy off, to because I didn't want to confront him, because he was so volatile. He was throwing stuff around and cursing, and I was not comfortable with him in my house, on my property. And so while my husband was trying to get the person on the phone, the guy came back in the house, and I was like in horror as I realized he walked into my house and he was right behind me, and I had to say something. And so I asked him very politely to stop his work and to leave, and he said, "I'll get my tools and I'll leave," and that was it. And then he put everything in his car and was like throwing stuff and slamming the doors on his car, and then he screeched out of here. And so then that weekend they sent a different guy over, and he was perfectly fine. He didn't cuss, he didn't throw stuff around. He was very, very nice. So that's why I didn't record, because that was happening. And then I was so triggered by having a violent man in my house again, because my dad would do that. My dad would scream and yell and throw things and slam doors and cupboards, and my dad was a drunk. And I think that if you grow up or at any time have a violent man in your house, I think that is a feeling that doesn't go away. And as soon as there's a violent man in your house again, you remember what that's like. Say hello to the people. This is our new kitten. This is Sir Davos Seaworth, Master of Ships. He is for our kitty cat Brienne. Sir Brienne, what is it? Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. She hates him. If you remember, my first cat was Tormund Giantsbane, who was a orange and white cat, and then he died. But before he died, he saved Brienne, and they decided they want to live together. So Brienne stayed with us, And then when Tormy died, not quite a year ago, then we decided to move, and then the move and everything. So now that Bree was all settled in, she drives me crazy. She wakes me up in the middle of the night. She just drives me nuts. So I was like, it's time for her to have a companion. And so I messaged one of my rescue friends, and I said I wanted a black cat for Bree. And I said, do you think we should do a kitten? Do you have a cat that would match with her? Like, and they were like, hey, we got this kitten that's almost ready. And I was like, okay, sure. She hates him right now. No, he's been here a week and a half, and they play in the morning, but then she goes off and has her nap, and she doesn't want to play with him anymore. So I got a kitty, Sir Davos. We call him Davos. Davos. He's a kitten. They're perfect. So, okay. What do I have for you today? We have a finished item that I'm wearing. Finished object, is that what we call it? FO. I have a whip. I have a new cast on that I haven't quite decided on yet, so you're going to help me figure that out. I have some squishy mail, and then a dye project that we're going to talk about today. So I'm sorry I missed you last time, but we're here now. So I used to be so like on the ball with everything. I used to be so prepared, and now I'm just never prepared anymore. It's like, prepared? What is oh my god, I didn't even say what day. If I didn't even mark it as finished. When did I finish this, guys? It's been a while. Like, I just blocked it. Yes, I think I at least finished it Friday. It was at least Friday. Okay, this is Italuna. I think it's Italuna Shawl by Kelly McClure. This is the Ravelry. It looks like this. Not my favorite project. It has turned out to be more like a, how was she wearing it? It turned out to be a little bit more of a scarf than a shawl. Okay, she's got it worn the other way. I really like how she's got it worn here. I really like whatever's happening here. I think that looks cool. But I don't wear scarves, so so she has it on the front worn like this. Is it like, no, hers, oh, she must have mirrored the picture. Because it's going the opposite. So she wore it this way. It's not terrible. It's just not as shawl-like as I would have. It's got these long, dramatic arms. I used everything but this. Probably, I don't know, 4 grams, couple grams of. These are all platinum sock base, which is 460 something yardage, 460. It depends on the bag. Okay, it's from Mold to Die for platinum sock, and it depends on the bag what your yardage. Sometimes it's like 461, 463, 464, 465. I don't know what mine are. It depends on what bag you get. It's not always the same. And the minis are the same base, just in minis. I did not cut any of the things off. I just blocked it yesterday. It was very hard to block because it's a kite shaped, and I've never done a kite shape before, so I wasn't quite sure how that worked, and the schematic did not help at all with, because this garter ridge edge just would not block like the side of a shawl at all. I just could not get it to do it. So the hardest part for me was blocking it, and I'm not sure. I think it's a statement piece. If you want to make a statement and you want to feel like that witchy Stevie Nicks kind of boho witchy vibe, I think it's fine. It's fun. It was a fun knit. The beginning I don't like, because the beginning I had a really hard time blocking, and it still is not really laying flat. It's curving up on itself. If I do this, you see it's curving. And I really like to block things fiercely to be as flat and open as possible. I'm pretty aggressive when I block, especially lace. Remember, I told you this, my head hole would get bigger. That's why I did 40 stitches. But again, if you just want to put a head hole in any shawl, I would do the other kind, the boomerang shawl. I don't like this kite shape at all. I don't like it. I will probably do a head hole again in a boomerang, the bias triangle that's kind of more like a boomerang than a triangle. The kite is just weird with the corners. It makes this corner here for no reason that I can figure, and then this edge doesn't really work. So I love working the bias boomerang shawls. So would probably do that in all garter and just put a head hole in it. Maybe. I've been trying to work that boomerang in a stockinette because I love how yarn looks in stockinette. It's my absolute favorite stitch. I just love it. Always looks gorgeous. I'm not too big on garter unless it's just a plain color. Then I'm fine with garter. But it's like if you put these two together, if you're like, oh, garter or stockinette, I love how yarn always looks stockinette. I'm not crazy about garter ever. But I really want to do a boomerang that is stockinette. But I can't get it right. I cannot get it right at all. 'Cause you have to make sure that the edges don't roll. But these edges really rolled, and this had three because I added. This is the back end. Yes, so this had 3 selvage stitches at the end that were garter, and it was not enough. So I would do more. I would probably do 5, at least 5. I've been wanting to do a boomerang stockinette forever, and I just cannot get it to work. I tried a couple years ago, just could not get it to work. It drove me nuts. Oh, by the way, we tried to cover up the skylights so I could record, and apparently I get this. So how about I just come over here for a little bit, and then you get the handle looking like it's coming out. Fantastic. I almost forgot to show my other finished item, my test knit. This is Katie DeGroff knits. Whoops. I weaved those in, but I haven't. I wasn't sure I blocked this right, so I haven't. I don't like to cut my ends off until I am 100% sure I have blocked everything, because I weave in, block, and then I cut. So I don't cut until I'm for sure finished blocking. This is her never-ending story cowl. It also comes in a shawl, which I don't think I saw. I know she tagged me, but I don't think I saw. Maybe I had something else to do. I think that was when I was doing the Stephen West stash bust along, and I was like, I can't do a show. I'm doing a Stephen West show. But I wish I had, because I love, this is mosaic knit. Isn't it gorgeous? I love mint green. And this was, again, a mystery mini from Cornbread and Honey, mint green. And the gray is a heritage sock. One of the gray, I don't know which gray. There's like 5 gray. They have 5 grays, but it was a leftover from my shawlography. And oh my gosh, it just pops. Would Stephen call this a color opportunity? Mint green is one of my most favorite colors to look at. And I did 2 pattern, except for, you can do this, and the pattern calls for DK or fingering. So the fingering weight version actually stops at that square. So I did another half repeat to get this square at the tip, because I thought that just looked better than that one. But if you do the DK version, you get this. But the fingering, you can get it too. You could just do a half a repeat. I only have one whip, which is the rainbow hat that I've been working on that you haven't seen in a while. And I only did a couple rows because it's we talked about this when I was doing my rainbow, how to get more rainbows. Oh, I got a rainbow watch thing, so I can have rainbow on all the time. This is Drunken Unicorns from Mitchell's Creations, but it's being held with a plain black strand. So I do 1 round of plain black and 1 round of the rainbow. See, so it does like this. Now, if you do it just 1 strand of Drunken Unicorns, it goes like this. It comes out like this. And I wasn't sure I liked the pooling that was happening. So I did 1 and 1 because I like more black anyway. It's fine. So what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be a double layered hat, I'm going to do half of it, so 50 grams. Actually, it'll be 25 of each ball. 25 grams. Once I'm done, 25 grams of each ball. That'll be 50 grams. And then I'm going to drop the black one, and I'm going to finish in the 1 color, so that when I wear this, I can wear it either way, either side out, because it'll be double layers. So one side will be this, and one side will be this. And then when you flip the brim, it'll be the opposite side. So you'll see it'll be this, and then this will be the brim will be more colorful, or you can wear the more colorful side, and the brim will be the more subdued. So that's what I decided, because I couldn't decide which, if I liked it better with the extra strand of black or no. So I was like, I'll just do both, because it's reversible, so I'll be able to do both. Like this is fingering weight on a 275 needle, 275 millimeter. Don't know what the gauge is. That's how I make all my fingering weight double layer hats. You start with a pinhole cast on of 8, and you work up to, I think, 144. Or the one under that. It depends on your yarn whether or not I do 144 or 136 144 minus 836. Yes. Okay. 136 or 144, depending on this. This is also platinum sock, so that I think I went to 136 because when I did platinum sock on a 144, it was just a smidge too big, and I didn't like it that big. I liked it the big of the 136, but for a cashmere blend, cash sock, yeah, not the high twist. Whatever the other base is, it's like 435 yards. I go up to 144, and that fits perfect. It really I think it really depends on the fiber and the weight, and you think 435 isn't that different than 465 yardage wise. It's 30 yards. It's not gonna make that big a difference. But if you're already wearing something that's like an oversized hat and you do an extra 8 stitches, that can be like an extra inch or two or an extra inch, maybe over an inch, maybe, that you don't want over your head. Like it slips right off my head, and the other size is perfect to be oversized without slipping off my head. Does that make sense? So then anyway, you work until you have like, I don't know how many grams left, and then you start decreasing. But it starts with an 8. You can look at pinhole cast. It's not hard. I'm pretty sure it's in my thing. I wrote out how to make it. But anyway, that is my whip. If you remember last week, I was talking about kind of what my purpose is in knitting. What is my purpose? What am I trying to accomplish here? Why am I knitting? So in trying to come up with my next project that wasn't a complete waste of my time, like this shawl, I did not need to make this. This is not going to be a wardrobe staple. I will probably never wear it again. It was just something to keep me occupied, and I'm like, is that really the point? Then like I'm just wasting time. So I want to be more mindful of and purposeful in what I'm making and why. So with that in mind, I had decided that I wanted to make a shrug for summer. Actually, I want to make a couple shrugs for summer because I went shopping and okay, here's what happened. First of all, I decided I wanted to make a fingering weight shawl or shrug because, you know what I mean by shrug? Just sleeves with like maybe ribbing around it, just sleeves that you pull out. Now, just not any type of, just like a back piece and just sleeves, like connected sleeves. So I can't tell you how ridiculously impossible it was to find that in a pattern. Like, I don't understand why the patterns I want just don't exist. Like, they don't exist. So I found one that I was going to do called the Abigail, and I bought the pattern and everything. And then I looked even closer at the directions, had no finishing for around the open part of the body. It was just rolled stockinette, and I was like, well, I absolutely do not want rolled stockinette. That's going to drive me nuts. I wanted something with finishing around the open hole. It goes around your neck and under your arms and around your back, right? So I want something. I don't want it to just fold over. Rolled. I hate when stockinette rolls, first of all. I hate it. It's a sensory thing. I cannot stand rolled stockinette. I don't mind when it's hemmed. When it's hemmed, what do they call that? When you hem it, when you double it over and hem it, that's fine. I just don't want it to just roll. I hate that. It drives me crazy. I think it's a thickness issue because you can't really tell how thick it is until it does it, and then you can't control where it does it, and then it becomes sensory, like on my skin, and I don't like it. So, here nor there. I realized that this pattern I paid for, I wasn't even going to use now. So I went just looking for what I wanted in a different pattern, and I found a free version. And so I'm trying to decide how I want to construct it. Do I want to start down the center of the back and do a provisional cast on and then work across the back and then work one sleeve and then come back, work the other half of the back and then work the other sleeve? Or do I want to work sleeve to sleeve, which would be easier? Sleeve, sleeve, sleeve. Do I care if my stitches are all going in one? I don't care, because I don't care. Is that going to be a fit issue? Like, is that, again, going to be a sensory issue? I don't know. I guess I could. It's more important to me that there's some type of picking up and finishing around the giant hole. That's more important to me. The sleeves I'll figure out, whatever. Because I do have the sleeves of a sweater that I made that I really, really, really like the sleeves. So I was just going to work that just to count for the difference in gauge, which I have to do a gauge swatch. I haven't done a gauge swatch yet. But then I was thinking, because I do that way too much, I was thinking I haven't made a sweater in fingering weight yet, so I don't know what my perfect stitch count would be for arms. So I was also thinking, why don't I just make a DK version? Because I know I've made a sleeve with DK, right? And those needles, I could just make that. Then I already know the sleeves. I know the exact sleeve count, everything. I know then all I have to do is do the back. So I could make a full sleeve, work out how much I need the back, and then make the other sleeve if I'm, or I guess do across the back. I don't know. But I was thinking, should I make a DK version in wool, even though, am I going to wear that? Honestly, I don't know if I will. Because if I'm like cold enough to wear DK sleeves, I figure I would just wear a sweater. Why would I, you know what I mean? Why would I bother with, you know what I mean? Not sure. But also, is that even going to help me make a fingering weight version if I just change that would give me how much I needed for this. But I also have a crochet version, one that I've already made that I like very much, but doesn't fit me anymore. So I could measure that one and figure out. Then whatever I do is going to just be a little bit bigger, because knit is stretchy and crochet is not. And that one was made, as a rectangular pattern, and then the sleeves were seamed. So it's completely different construction, but I'm not doing that for this because I don't want seams. Seams, again, sensory issue. No seams. So I guess that brings us to squishy mail. Because I put an order in at Nomad Yarns? Nomad. Just Nomad. Because I was thinking, do I really want to do fingering weight wool when it's 80 degrees out? No. I'd like some more plant fiber, right? Even though I dye acid dyes, and that is protein fibers, which are animal fibers. Okay, plant fibers are cellulose fibers, and those use fiber reactive dyes, not acid dyes. It's not to say you couldn't use an acid dye, because acid dyes could stain. I don't know that they would technically dye, but you could stain it. So what I did is I was like, I want to see what they've got for some mixes. And so this is Soleil DK Why did I get the DK? Oh, because one of the things I want to make is with 4mm needles. And I was like, well, DK. I didn't look for sport. I probably should have. Anyway, this is 50% fine superwash merino wool, 50% Pima cotton, 100 grams, 246 yards, 4 ply, DK weight. So 50-50 wool and cotton is going to be much lighter than 100% wool or let's see, 15% nylon, 80% nylon, whatever your nylon cotton's going to be, nylon cotton content. And Soleil also comes in a fingering weight, which is 437 yards, 4 ply. Fingering sock weight, 50-50, 100 grams. Because one of my favorite yarns I've ever used is Drops 50-50 merino cotton. It's a 50-50 merino cotton, and I love it. It's a little bit thinner than DK, and I can't readily get it in the States. I had to order it from like Lithuania or somewhere where they don't speak English, and I don't know why I can't find Drops in the U.S. Just can't find it here. I also got Brisa, 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 I don't know. 65% fine superwash merino, 35% bamboo, 100 grams, 437 yards, 3 ply, fingering weight. Now, bamboo is also a coolish fiber. And with the 65%, I'm still going to get that coverage of the 65% wool. The 50-50, I don't know how that's going to work out at all. I have no clue how 50-50 is going to work out. But 65-35, the bamboo is kind of it's almost like a silk in that it has like not shimmery, but it has a look to it that is not matte. It's not matte looking. And so soft. So I got this. And I also got Verano, 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 60% fine superwash merino wool, 30% Pima cotton, 10% linen, 100 grams, 437 yards, 3 ply. Another fingering weight. Linen, I love linen. Linen used to be all over the place when I was younger, and it's like you don't find linen anymore. It's like for rich people now, at least here in the States, it's very hard to get linen. You can still get cottons in your clothes, but a lot of the big thing now is modal. Modal is everywhere, and I'm pretty sure the tank top I'm wearing has modal in it, and it's modal is kind of grippy on my hands in the way microfiber is. And again, it's a sensory issue. I hate touching microfiber. I absolutely hate touching microfiber. It feels like it's gripping me, and I cannot stand it on my skin. It makes my skin feel dry, and I just hate touching it. So modal is a lot like that to me. It makes me feel dried out, and I don't like it. But linen, love linen. So even 10%, I dyed it. So this is what I want to make my shrug out of. The worst thing, I made 2 of these, but one's already caked up. I love this so much. So what I say, so 65%. 60, 30, 10. Oh, I have it written here. I have my die notes, which you can't see. I had a different plan for this. I had a plan of a very light color gray, like that color gray, like this color gray or this color gray, somewhere in between those. I wanted a lighter gray. But what happened was, while I was doing that, I did one pass, and then I take the yarn out in order to put more dye in, because I was doing full immersion. So I needed the yarn to come out so I was mixing the dye into my dye pot. I wasn't mixing it up first and then putting it in there, because it was such a small amount of dye that I didn't want to add any more water. I had plenty enough of water for only 2 skeins to be in, so I didn't want any more water. So I had to take the skeins out in order to put more dye in and whisk it up, and every time. So, sorry. When I took them out, I put them in this bowl that I always use, the Halloween black bowl with skeletons and pumpkins on the outside. I use it all the time in my dye studio because it's perfect to just put wet hanks in. So, past me did not properly clean out the bowl, and I got transfer. So I had black smudges and blue smudges on both of them. And so I wasn't going to be able to cover that up with the light gray that I wanted. So I had to go darker, and I can't even find them in the skeins. I cannot find them. But I was so mad. So maybe the bamboo will get the lighter gray. I'm not sure. It wasn't meant to be on the linen, because I thought, oh, linen, that's going to be the lightest version, so I wanted to make it the lightest gray. Plus, it's easier to make mistakes on a lighter color, and there's less opportunity to correct them if your dye is very, very light. So if I'm doing black, I can make a bunch of mistakes because I'm going to over dye it black anyway. In fact, what I should do is do a bunch of stuff like this and just keep them until I want something in black, and then just over dye it, because otherwise that's what I do when I mess stuff up or I get skeins I don't like. I'll over dye in black because then I'll use them. But for summertime, since we're trying to keep things cool, I didn't want to do black because black is so hot in the summer when you got the sun on you. I like to do grays in the summer because that's pastel black, and you can't convince me otherwise. Pastel black in the summer. So this actually is charcoal. This is Pro Chem charcoal. And this was done. So you got to figure out, okay, if your base is 60% merino and the other 40% is cellulose, I'm not going to dye those. They're not going to, like I said, they will stain, but they're not going to dye. They won't take the dye. So when I work out the, hold on, I'm getting my baking percentage, I'm getting my baking terminology confused with my dyeing terminology because they're both percentages, but my depth of shade is not anything like the baker's percentage. But anyway, for depth of shade, you, instead of going, this is 100 grams of dye. However, only 60% of that is protein dye, which is what I can dye. So instead of going by 100 grams, I go by 60 grams, okay? Because 60% of 100 is 60. So all of my math works out as 60, not 100 grams. Okay, does that make sense? Because your weight of fiber, instead of 100 grams, is going to be 60 grams. So This was done with Pro Chem charcoal. Is it charcoal black or just charcoal? I think it's just charcoal. Their black is called Wash Fast Black, which is amazing. Anyway, I didn't use that. I used this. And I use the charcoal because I can get, it's a little bit lighter than the black, so I can get a little bit lighter gray. And I was actually going to do Dharma's Platinum, because that is a very, very, very light gray, the Platinum. And so that is easier to measure because it has, I guess, more fillers or something. It's not as, if you think of gray and black, right? They're the same color, just in a different quantity. But when you're dyeing, when you're measuring dye, it's a powder, right? So you have to go by grams or tenths of grams or 20 of grams of whatever. Tens of grams. Point. Yeah. Okay, so my for this was, where is it? So then since I did 2, my entire weight of fiber was 120 grams for 2, because it's 60. So 120 was what I was going for. So if I was going to do 0.5 times 2 was 0.3, 0.15, 0.3. Okay, so I should keep better notes. So first I did 0.03 grams, and I don't know why I did that. 60%, okay, because I wanted 0.025% depth of shade. So 60% of that, 60% of the weight of fiber of 0.025 was 0.015 grams. So you times that by 2, and that gives you 0.03. That would give me 0.025% depth of shade. That's not what this was. But, so that's how light it was. Very, very light, like that light gray that I showed you. That's what I was going for. And then I had the dye transfer, and I got really, really mad. So I think I actually did put some platinum on it. I'm not sure if I did or not. Did I? I don't remember. So anyway, what I ended up doing was, I don't even know. 0.031. Oh, okay. I did 2. So, okay, the first I did was 0.031. So I added 0.036 of platinum. Did I do 2? I might have done 2 and then found the transfer, because I had a total of 0.067 grams. So after 2 dye things. So in order to get, I needed 1.133 to be what? 0.1% of the charcoal? 120, 1.2. Okay, I don't know what, I have an arrow, but I don't know what it's coming from. So anyway, I added, oh, I wanted 120, 1.2 grams. So that's 0.1%. Okay. So I want, this is 0.1% charcoal. Let's see. Which looks nothing like this. Are you sure that's what it was? Was it 1% charcoal? I think it's 1% charcoal. None of these look like it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not good. That's on merino. That's on merino nylon, which is like magic. The nylon is nuts to have when you dye. Nylon's going to help take the color so vividly. It's crazy. So anyway, not only is this tonal, because I did 3 different dye processes, that was by design. Because if you do it all at once, you're going to have more opportunities for resist there, and then you might get a part that's just white that doesn't get anything. So if you break them into sections, if you do slowly layer the thing on, then it's less likely you're going to have any white done, and it takes longer, but then you don't have any white done. So I feel like I'm not making any sense to anybody. Anyway, not only is it tonal, all right, but because of the fiber content of the cellulose that didn't dye but may have been stained, or not at all, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything that was not stained or that you could see the actual fiber that didn't take anything. But this is also kind of heathered. It doesn't look, it's like tonal and heathered. Very, very nice. I think it's going to work up just gorgeously. See, it's a little bit darker here, and then you have like bits here that are very, very light gray. I wish I could see the blue. Well, I guess I don't wish I could see the blue, but I can't see the blue or the black that was on it, and it was so ginormous. And then at that point I was like, well, I could, just when I get to that part, like cut it out and do, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Who wants to do that? But oh, I was so mad. So I washed that bowl, and then when I was done with this dye, this was the first thing I washed. I was like, this is never happening again. It's one of the worst things when you get dye transfer because your materials aren't clean. It'll make you so mad. Anyway, I have to make a gauge swatch with this to see what fabric I like and to see what I'm going to do, but I'm really not sure how I want to do the construction, if I want to do cuff to cuff or from the back, both sides. Probably from the back, both sides would give me the least amount of differences in both sides. So both armholes are going to be about the same. So I probably should do that, right? It's probably the best idea to do it that way so I don't irritate myself. Do you see him sleeping on top of the crate right here? He goes in there at night because he's terrible. He cannot be unsupervised yet. So that's my dye project. But I'm still not sure if I want to. I don't think I have any plant-based DK unless I want to order more drops. I want to order some drops from Lithuania again and do that. Like, I'm trying to decide. But if I already have it in DK and I have the sweater that I made so I can check the gauge. I already know what the gauge is because it's the same on everything I make with 4mm needles. The gauge is the same because it's my most used DK weight with 4mm is 20 by 32. 20 stitches and 32 rows. That's what I got. My rows are always shorter than everyone else's ever, all the time. I always have more rows. I'm always short the rows, so I always have to do more rows to make up for it. Anyway, that should be enough, right? To try to get to work out when to do everything, because I have it row by row in the DKs. So row by row I can search out how. I'm good enough at math, I can do that. So I'm just going to make a gauge swatch with this. Here it is in the cake. Isn't it pretty? I'm going to make a gauge swatch with this and figure that gauge and then plug it into my sleeves. And I wonder where right, because the sleeve's going to come here across the, I don't know how to measure because there's some give there, right? It's going to have to because if your sleeves are up like this, it's gonna, and you go like this, there's some stretch there that I'm gonna have to account for, I assume. But I know what I need right here for my bicep, so that's gonna be how tall the thing is, and then I'll fill in the rest with whatever I decide to do. Some sort of ribbing, probably not ribbing, but probably like what are those, moss or seed or whatever the difference is in those. Maybe something like that to help it lay flat around there. I could also do a doubled over hem. I could do that. I actually might do that depending on how much yardage I have, because I only made 2 of these. I might not have enough yardage for that. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to have to figure out before I get to the cuffs, because I like the cuffs to match whatever is going on around. Okay, so have we decided we're going to start provisional in the back and go across and figure out how much across and then work the sleeves? I'll probably put the sleeve on from my other thing and see how far that actually goes, and then measure across here and try to account for the difference of that. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm talking in a different language and nobody ever understands what I'm saying. Because that's been my experience my whole life. But yes, I did not want to have to make a DK one, because I'm like, if I'm cold enough that I'm putting on DK, I'm just going to put a sweater on. And I do have plans to make a DK cardigan, so I don't want a DK shrug. I'll just wear a cardigan if I'm that cold that a shrug isn't going to be enough. But the shrugs I need for weather like this, for when I go somewhere that is air conditioned, because then I'm always freezing, right? Do you love this? It came out great. I can't wait to use all the other ones. I cannot wait to see what colors. I wanted to do a light gray, and I wanted to do a medium gray, and then I wanted to do an actual charcoal, because I don't have anything charcoal. And I was trying to stay away from black. So the cotton merino, the 50/50, I was going to make the charcoal, the darkest one, because it actually has the least amount of merino, but why did I don't remember why. There is no method to my madness. It's just madness. Nothing ever makes sense. That should be the show, unless I've forgotten anything else, which is entirely possible. Anyway, Sir Davos, isn't he a cutie? Also have foster dog, an old man whose owner passed away, and he was left in the house, and he's a sad old man. He is very depressed. I feel terrible for him. But my dogs are being great. Come here. My dogs are being angels like they always are. Aren't you being the best boy? This is Pops. He is named after a Terminator. He's named after Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Terminator Genesis. John Connor talks too much. Yeah, Sir Davos. That's it. That's all I got. I'll have to see you in 2 weeks, hopefully. Nothing else gets. I don't have anything planned, so. Oh, they're coming to get our ramp. Oh, that's not in the next 2. Is that in the next 2 weeks? It doesn't matter. All right, I'll see you next time. Okay. What do I usually say? I don't remember what I used to say. Who knows? Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. Bye.